Hello everyone, welcome to my corner of the world. Today I have a really pretty, shiny, blingy card to share with you. Lots of Christmas prettiness really. And just to add a little bit of extra lusciousness, it is an easel card. So the front pops up like this, and then it will sit on the mantle or wherever it is that they are displayed, like this. So let's make a start on sharing how to make this with you. So my starting point is my stamp set, which is the Christmas Classics, and I particularly like this one. It's got some lovely greetings in lovely fonts, and if you know me, you know that's what I like. And the design would take the peace on earth, the tidings of comfort and joy, or deck the halls. So whatever it was that you wanted to put on your card, then this would work. And it has a coordinating die set, which is also called Christmas Classics. And there's lots of pretty dies. Let me share some. I've got them out ready to use. So there's this one which creates the little front panel, and then excuse me, we've got a nice one that will create a little leaf. I'm not quite sure what that leaf is, but it's very attractive. And then we have another that will create a pretty holly leaf. And then this one, which is, if you like, the pièce de résistance in my book, will cut that beautiful front piece with all the fancy detail. So let's make a start on pulling all of the pieces together. So my card is, as I said, it's an easel card, and so my starting point is a piece. This is Cherry Cobbler card, and it's 11 by 4 1/4. And I scored it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. And we're going to fold this. First of all, you're going to fold in half. Make sure your edges and your corners line up, and put in your fold. And then open up, and this other fold at the 2 3/4, if I put it this way, at 2 3/4, you're going to fold in, making sure it all lines up and the corners are good. And so you've got this. So this is your, this is what you should have, like a little pyramid at the end. And while we're here, I'm going to take some double-sided tape, and I'm going to add some tape just to this one bottom panel. And you don't need it anywhere else, just one bottom panel, like that. Now I put in a couple. If you want, you can go ahead and put some on the sides. Maybe I'll just do that, just to, like this. And then one more piece just there. And it doesn't have to be right up to the edge, as long as it's close to the edge. And then I'm just going to get my bone folder and smooth that down like that. So there's my first part of my card base. Now my next part is the front panel, and I've gone ahead and pre-embossed this, and I've used the Merry Melody embossing folder, which gives us this really pretty front color. I just love it. So if you use like Deck the Halls, there's actually a Christmas song, Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly, and then Peace on Earth. Excuse me, I'm sure that there's one that would work for that as well. Excuse me, serves me right for trying to sing. Then I've got this piece of card. This is another piece of cherry cobbler, and it's 5.5 by 4.25. And my piece of embossed vanilla is 5.25 by 4. And I'm just going to attach those pieces together. And that will give me a nice margin like that. So I'm just going to set that aside for a few moments to let the glue dry, and we're going to do a bit of stamping now. So this piece I pre-cut here fits perfectly in the middle of this fancy medallion. And I am going to show you how to cut that out with a few hints and tips on how to make it work, to cut nicely. So I did this one piece on earth. This one I'm going to do Deck the Halls, and I'm using cherry cobbler ink. There. And there's a very fancy little stamp here. Let me show you on the box. It'll be a lot easier. Here, it's a lovely, pretty little corner stamp. And just to make my piece of card pop, I'm going to just stamp each of my corners. And this time I'm using Mossy Meadow ink. So that's that piece stamped. That's that done. And then I want to do my inside as well as my envelope. So again, there's another stamp that will do that. So I've got my envelope. I'm going to start with Mossy Meadow and this nice 3-leafed holly stamp. And I also have another piece of vanilla. So this is going to be my inside piece. I'm going to stamp that as well. And I think I've finished with my Mossy Meadow. And so I'm going to go back with my cherry cobbler. And when I open up my pads like this, I like to leave a little handle just so that I can easily pull it out without getting my fingers in the ink. And there's a little stamp here that has holly berries. So I'm going to pop my holly berries. I'm going to pop 3 here on my inside. And I'm going to pop another 3 on my envelope. So there's my holly berries all nicely in place. Now you'll see that I've got a little greeting inside my card, which is how I prop up the easel part. So that's the bit I'm going to do next. And all I've got here is a piece of vanilla cardstock, and this is 1/2 inch wide. And the stamp I've got here says "To you and yours." Again, this is all from the same Christmas Classic stamp set. I haven't used any other stamp set in this design at all. So I'm going to stamp. That's a bit too high. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a piece of board here just so I can see. Don't like that either. Good job. There's plenty of card. It's a bit too high. I think I need to aim a bit lower. I think I might have it there. Oh, much better. Okay. Then with my paper snips, I'm going to trim off that piece there. And I've got a little strip here of old olive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the greeting down so that I get a little border all the way around. And then I'm just going to cut that like that. And that gives me my nice little label with a couple of dimensionals on the back. I'm just going to pop a couple like that. And there, we're ready to go. So I think that's most of our pieces, except the fancy gold piece on the front. So let's go ahead and share with you some hints and tips. So I've got a 3-inch square of the gold foil, and it is beautiful and has a lovely impact. It cuts well with the, but you just need to be mindful that there's sort of a film that's here that just needs a little bit of extra help to cut through, and that's what I want to share with you today. So I've got my cut and emboss machine, and I'm using my number 1 plate, that's my base here, the number 2 adapter on top, 1 clear plate, and number 3, and that's going to go on top there. Then I'm going to put my piece of gold and then my die. Now, before I put my die down, I want to make sure that there's no little pieces stuck in any of the gaps. And I just simply run my little brush off my Take Your Pick tool, and just to make sure. And it's quite easy to see if there's any gold pieces, but you want to make sure that there's no little bits in any of these little crooks and nannies. Then we're going to place it down, and to stop it moving, I'm going to be using some of this tape, which is like sticky notes, only it's in a tape form and it's all sticky. And I'm doing it partly because I don't want it to move off of my piece of gold. A little bit close to the edge over there. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want it to move. And also it helps to keep everything in place when I do my next maneuver. Okay, so I'm going to put another plate on top. So this is another number 3 plate, and I'm going to crank it through really slowly. There's such a lot of detail on this die that it needs time for the rollers to put pressure on the cutting edge to cut through. So there's my 1 pass. And then I'm just going to gently pick up, and I'm going to check. Now I can see that it's been cut nicely all the way around. So I'm thinking that this is a good cut. However, to make absolutely sure, I'm going to flip it over and turn it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to run it through again. And I'm going to run it through just as slowly. Let me just line everything up. Just as slowly as I did the first time. I found through experience that just rolling it through one way and back again and one way and back again, it doesn't work for me. All it does is make my plates go curvy. So that's why I like to just flip over. So fingers crossed and drum roll, hopefully this is going to come out. So here's my die coming off. Look at that, it's just come out really, really quickly and cleanly. Now I have probably got a few little bits in there. There's one, just one here. There, just going to pop that out. But if you just flick it like this, any odd pieces can just come out from their places. So hopefully you can see that by rolling it through slowly and then flipping it over and rolling it through again upside down, you can get a really good cut without the frustration of little bits not being properly cut through. Okay, so we're now in the final throes of putting everything together to finish our card. Right, so my next piece is, I've got my front piece, and I'm not quite sure which is the right way up. And I asked my friend who plays the piano, and she said she can't see if there's a right way or a wrong way, and she can read music. So I figure we're pretty safe not worrying too much about the right way and the wrong way up. So I'm going to take off these two side pieces of my backing, and then I'm going to take up one up just like that, and then like this. Okay, so I haven't exposed all my adhesive. Now, this fits exactly on this piece of card, so that we're not looking for any borders, margins or anything. So I'm going to line up this bottom corner and this edge here, and then gently fold, position everything down in place, and then I'm just going to gently pull that piece out there, and then flip it over, and I'm just going to gently pull that piece out. Oh, and it broke on me, but all is not lost. Let me show you how we can put this to rights. I can just peek down in there, and I can just flip out that little bit of backing. Here we go, like that. Oh, this is being a little bit of a bear. There we go. And then just get my bone folder and just really give that a good old rub down like that. So there we've got our piece. We'll go like that, and at this point I can go ahead and put my inside piece in. So this is the piece where I'm going to write your "To You, Love from Me" on the back. So that's just going to pop here. And now the bit to help it stand up. So this was our piece that we created a few moments ago. So I'm just going to take the backing off, and I'm just going to decide how much I want it to stand up. So if I want it to stand up really sort of vertical, I'm going to pop it up there. If I want it to be more at an angle, I'm going to pop it there. Just pop my piece in, press it down, and there. And then I can build up my front piece. So I've got my Deck the Halls. So that will just stick right in the middle here. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. And looks like that one's all finished, so let's get another one out. And I'm also going to put one in the middle just to make sure that it's supported. Get the backing off like that. And then I'm going to pop this sort of toward the top. And then I've got my 2 leaves. So I cut one using Old Olive and the other using Mossy Meadow, just to give I don't know, just to like a little bit of a colour variation, give us some texture. And so I'm going to layer one on top of the other using a glue dot, like that. And then with another glue dot, I'm going to attach it to my card. And you can always trim this little piece off. I'm going to leave it just to see how it looks. I might move it in a moment. And then I got my ribbon, and this, I've shared this with you such a lot of times. Gold and silver 1/8 trim pack, and you get a roll of gold and a roll of silver, and there's 10 yards on here for about, I think it's like $7, maybe $7 or $8. And it just goes on forever. It's just such a great deal. And it just gives a little bit of added bling. And I'm just going to pop it there. And I think with my final little thing was to use some of these festive pearls. So this has red, which I'm going to use a couple of. Well, maybe I use a couple of red. And it has gold and shiny silver. And then this one is they say it's green. I can't see it myself, but it's more pearly, and to me it looks like a sort of a pearly silver, but I think it would take on any color that you put next to it. And there's gold ones at the bottom, so I'm just going to put a gold one there, and I'm done. So it will go up like that, and just a lovely card to send to friends and family. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this particular card. If you have, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you've any comments, questions, you can always put them down below for me, and I'll look forward to reading them, and I'll try my best to answer any questions. And if you don't already subscribe, perhaps you'll go ahead and do that, and share my video as well. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.